Imagine you're just minutes away from closing a $1 billion deal, the biggest of your life, when a waitress walks up, looks you dead in the eyes, and says, "Sir, you must leave now." Everyone in the room freezes. Cameras stop flashing. What happened next not only destroyed a billion-dollar empire, but exposed a truth this CEO never wanted the world to know. Stay tuned, because this story will leave you speechless. "Sir, you must leave now." The sentence fell from Maya's lips like a bell crack in a cathedral. Clean, final, impossible to ignore. The ballroom dimmed itself in the silence that followed, as if the chandeliers had inhaled and forgotten to exhale. 1,000 tiny reflections trembled across the crystal glasses, and the string quartet missed a beat, bows hovering midair. Ethan Ward, silver cufflinks, a suit that whispered when he moved, the sort of smile that didn't reach his eyes, stared at her. He had been laughing a moment before, soaking in applause from a table of hedge fund rainmakers and attorneys. On the screens behind him, a countdown ticked toward the announcement of a $1 billion merger that would crown him king of the quarter's news cycle. Cameras stood at the ready. Investors waited like wolves pretending to be sheep. Maya's black server jacket was one size too large and 1 decade too old. Her grandmother's locket warmed her skin, the only gold she owned. Her hands didn't shake. She couldn't let them. Not after what she'd heard in the side corridor, not after what she'd seen. "Is this a joke?" Ethan's voice was whipped cream over glass shards. "Do you know who I am?" She did. Everyone did. Ethan Ward turned failing companies into obedient machines. Cut, compress, cash out. He looked past Maya toward the event organizer, toward the general manager stiffening at the edge of the room, toward the investors whose faces were sliding from amusement to concern. He searched for someone with power. He did not find it in the woman in front of him, because he had never been taught to look for it there. Maya didn't move. "Sir, you need to leave. Now." Minutes earlier, the hallway behind the kitchen had smelled of rosemary and worry. Maya had been replenishing a tray of fig tarts when she heard raised voices, a hissed conversation, 2 men, a woman's uncomfortable laugh that trembled into silence. Then Ethan's voice, the one she recognized from podcasts and panels, low and private and ugly. "People like you don't get to say no. You'll thank me when this is over. Do you know how much this deal is worth? 1 word from me, and I can make your little job disappear." A pause. A muffled plea. The sound of a hand catching a wrist. Maya's mother had taught her that fear is a poor locksmith. It only locks you in. She stepped forward then, clearing her throat, the tray balanced like a shield. "Is everything okay here?" Ethan turned, eyes slick, annoyance bright. "We're fine. Run along." The woman tried to move past him. He reached again, not violently exactly, convinced, instead, of his right to finish what he'd started. That casual certainty was what lit the fuse inside Maya. She didn't shout. She didn't fiddle for proof she didn't have. She stepped between them as if stepping into a storm and said, "You need to return to the ballroom, sir. And you're safe with me." The woman's eyes flooded with relief like rain finding gutters. Now, in the ballroom, every choice that mattered condensed into a single breath. The event manager reached Maya's side, his smile stretched thin. "We should discuss this in private." Maya's voice didn't rise. It deepened. "There's nothing private about safety." She looked toward the woman who stood near the archway, shoulders squared now, a smear of mascara. Proof, but only to anyone willing to see. "Mr. Ward violated our guest. Our policy. Our dignity." A ripple moved through the crowd. At the head table, a woman in a steel blue dress, the chair of Alderline Capital, the firm bankrolling Ethan's merger, set down her glass. She had the stillness of a blade before it is drawn. Ethan laughed, a brittle, expensive sound. "I've never seen such theatrics." He widened his stance, performed indignation. "I'm the keynote, sweetheart. After I finish making history, you can file whatever bashful complaint makes you feel better." "Don't," Maya said. The word landed like a door closing. "Don't call me that." The chair in steel blue lifted a finger, and conversation evaporated. "Ms. Maya Brooks," she said. "What specifically happened?" the chair asked. Her voice was even. It made room for answers without promising outcomes. Maya's throat tightened, not with fear, with an old, familiar exhaustion. She had been invincible for so long, auditioning for the role of harmless. She met the chair's eyes. He cornered a guest. He used his status as a weapon. I intervened. He needs to leave. Ethan's mask cracked. "This is a shakedown." He barked a laugh at the cameras as if they would rescue him. "I've supported diversity programs. I've mentored, Maya's eyebrow rose. And nothing, he snapped. You think you can blow up $1 billion deal with a story? Stories build empires, Maya said softly. And they ruin them. The chair lifted her chin toward the general manager. Take Ms. Brooks to the staff office. Then to Ethan. You'll remain here. We'll sort this. For a moment, the room breathed again. As Maya turned, the woman from the corridor reached for her. Don't let him hurt you, she whispered. He already did, Maya said. He just doesn't know it yet. In the staff office, the air was humbler, coffee with a burnt aftertaste, a refrigerator humming like an old dog dreaming. The chair arrived 2 minutes later, without entourage or camera. She closed the door. I'm Evelyn Crane, she said, taking a plain metal chair instead of the leather one. I run Alderline. I know, Maya said. The locket ticked against her heart. Your firm funds a scholarship program. My cousin applied. Evelyn's gaze flicked to the locket and back. If what you say is true, I will not do business with him. She paused. But I need more than a brave sentence. Maya slid her phone across the desk. She hadn't recorded the corridor. She'd been busy being a person, but a server had handed her a napkin with a trembling note. Check the back bar cam. The office computer played security footage. It wasn't perfect. It didn't catch Ethan's words. But it caught the stance, the lean, the hand, the recoil, the fear. It caught enough to show a pattern to anyone willing to see. Evelyn watched quietly. She did not gasp. She did not perform horror. She made a call. Pull his background file, she told someone, then another call to legal, voice a clean blade slicing through pretense. When she hung up, she exhaled, a weight moving from her shoulders to the floor. There were rumors, she said. NDA whispers. I wanted them to be incompetence, not cruelty. Wanting is not seeing, Maya said. She surprised herself with the heat in her voice. She had been waiting all her life to be this honest with a woman who could actually change something. Evelyn's mouth tightened. You're right. She stood. Will you come with me? They returned to the ballroom together. The quartet had found their rhythm again, but the music felt like a lie told by someone trying to be kind. Ethan stood centered by the stage, arms folded, PR handler whispering frantically at his elbow. The countdown on the screens had stalled at 3 minutes and 17 seconds, an eternity that blazed. Evelyn didn't mount the stage. She didn't need height. She took the wireless microphone and spoke without theatrics. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. Tonight's announcement is postponed. A murmur, then the roar you hear before a storm stands up. She continued, calm as a surgeon. Alderline Capital has just been made aware of conduct by Mr. Ward that violates our firm's ethics. As of now, we are withdrawing from merger negotiations. We will not partner with leaders who mistake power for permission. Ethan's face slackened. His PR handler actually reached for him, as if the floor might open and swallow. A camera flashed, a hungry vulpine burst. The string quartet, forgetting itself, stopped mid-phrase. Ethan lunged for the mic. This is slander. Evelyn stepped away. The footage will say what it says, she murmured. And so will the people you paid to be silent. For the first time, Ethan looked like a man who realized the ocean he swam in had currents he couldn't name. He looked at Maya then, really looked, and in his face she saw something unfamiliar, not rage, not entitlement. Recognition. As if a mirror had been turned, and he couldn't bear the angle. Security approached. Ethan's voice shrank. You can't do this. We're hours from public markets. Think of the shareholders. I am, Evelyn said. And I'm thinking of my staff and my daughter and the woman in the corridor and the world we pretend to build while we quietly break it. The investors stopped performing neutrality. Phones rose. Someone applauded, nervous at first, then louder, then a rolling wave of hands refusing to stay still. It wasn't clean or unanimous, and it didn't need to be. Something important rarely is. As security guided Ethan toward the exit, he passed Maya. He opened his mouth, and for a beat she saw the boy he must have been, taught a definition of winning that had no place for apology. He closed his mouth again. He left. Only then did Maya sit. Her body remembered gravity, remembered the ache of being more than a symbol. She hadn't wanted to be heroic. She wanted to serve drinks, earn tips, afford textbooks, go home to a neat apartment where the faucet dripped in a rhythm she liked to pretend was music. But the world kept offering her thrones she never asked for, tiny burning chairs made of choices. Evelyn reached her with a glass of water. Thank you, she said simply. If we had gone through with that deal, I don't know what I would have told my board tomorrow, or my daughter tonight. She hesitated. I can't undo what you went through, but I can do something. If you're willing, I'd like to fund a security, dignity, and training program for this hotel group in your name. And if you ever want a different job, call me. Not because you saved me a headline, because you reminded me who I am supposed to be. Maya traced the condensation on the glass. She could feel the eyes on her, curious, admiring, skeptical, grateful, none of them the point. She thought of her grandmother's locket with the tiny photo faded into honey. She thought of her mother's hands, tired and brave. She thought of the tremor in the woman's voice that had found steadiness again. "Okay," she said. "Yes." The quartet found a new song, one without practice or sheet music, and somehow the room felt honest for the first time all night. The screens were dark, the countdown had given up. Yet something had happened, bigger than a deal, smaller than justice, a beginning shaped like an intervention. After her shift, beneath a sky the color of steel, Maya walked home. Her phone buzzed with messages, some kind, some cruel, most unnecessary. She silenced it. On a quiet corner, a woman stepped out of a rideshare and touched Maya's sleeve. The same woman. "I didn't get to thank you." "You don't owe me that," Maya said. "I know," the woman replied, "but I wanted to do it anyway." They stood there for a moment, two strangers bound not by the worst thing that happened tonight, but by the best. A bus sighed at the light. Somewhere, a dog argued with the moon. Maya's shoulders, those stubborn, overworked pillars, released. "Take care," she said. "You too," the woman answered, then added, with a smile that didn't apologize for its softness. "You changed more than a headline." Maya looked at the city, its windows blinking like tired eyes, and decided to believe it. She slipped the locket back beneath her collarbone, a promise not to forget. The night pressed close and warm around her, no longer a threat, but an embrace. The door she had dared to close behind her was more than an exit. It was an entrance to a version of the world where a black waitress could stop a CEO before a billion-dollar deal, and, in doing so, prove that worth is measured not by numbers, but by the people you refuse to step on when the cameras aren't watching.